Welcome back to Niko United with your boy David.
And your boy Ivan.
We're coming off a 1-1 draw with Fulham. Today we'll be talking about the game. We'll be talking about player ratings. And we'll be talking about a couple things what we took from the game. Our boy Ivan will be mostly focusing on that. He is the expertise. Remember that. He is the number one guy. And I promise you, he will never steer us wrong. Um, but yeah, of
Until I
course,
do.
yeah. Until he does, I will 100% guaranteed your money back. But there is no money involved, so we're good to go. But Ivan, I really didn't get a real glimpse of the game myself. Kind of had to watch a highlight reel, of course. So I got like a little bits and pieces. I did hear some whispers in the wind, but I'm gonna let you take it from here and walk us through a little bit of what you thought. Of course, everyone knows that we ended up with a 1-1. I know Euro's deflection ended up, being an own goal, and then of course somehow Smith Rowe, the substitute, scored a little tap in banger. But take us away.
Yeah, so sort of the general uh I guess consensus, about the game is that, we had a bright start, right? First 10, 15 minutes, we were very lively, It was kind of us just continuing on, our style of play and our energy from the Arsenal game, right? Pressed very high. Mount won the ball early on from pressing, and that ended up leading to I believe it was Cunha's shot on goal that ended up hitting the post. But yeah, we were just kind of following the same patterns as how we played with Arsenal. It was looking great. We were all excited. Like, are we really like? Is this really going to be the whole season? Right? Like, we're just going to be on it. You know what I'm saying? And then we really didn't get anything out of that. Sustained pressure that we were doing. And that's kind of how the game went, right? We had good moments. We didn't capitalize in those moments, and you leave teams in the game, and they're always gonna find a way, right? A team can always snag a goal some way somehow, right? So that's kind of how it went. First half was pretty decent at times, pretty great at times, and then I think Fulham definitely offered a lot more offensively and in possession than I expected. For whatever reason, we allowed them to kind of play with the ball a little more than Arsenal, which is kind of weird, right? You would think Arsenal would have more possession and we'd struggle against them, but we definitely struggled a little more against Fulham in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fulham created some chances here and there. They were threatening. Like I said, like I said in the preview, Iwobi was pretty crucial on the left side, linking up with the forwards and the wing backs, and ultimately getting that assist for what's his name, Smith Rowe, right? Um, but I mean, yeah. Other than that, Beyondier had a decent game, but still looks extremely shaky on corners. I mean, extremely. Homie was running around in circles, literally. Like he had his back turned towards the ball a few times. Like it was so odd. Wrestling with players,
Tripping over our own
and then the only
players.
yeah, exactly. And then the only other thing to note is Bruno missed the penalty, right? Which there's not much to say there, right? He's usually the guy for penalties, right? But he missed one today. You can't really say much. The only interesting thing about that, or controversial thing, is that leading up to him putting the ball down and walking back, getting ready, the damn ref ran into him to the point where like Bruno felt thrown off, and he was complaining to the ref, and he went back and put the ball back down and did his whole routine again. Um, so some people were saying that that's kind of why he missed, but Bruno, didn't blame it on the ref, right? Obviously, he's annoyed that he fucked up his routine, but Like that, he kicks the ball at the end of the day. He picks his spot. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
fucked it up.
Yeah, I mean, professional footballer, I mean, I did see, social media already putting it on blast. Just,
Yeah,
he bumped the goalie bumped him, screwed him over, angry. Now he's not, focused, eyeing the ball. I mean, but if you looked at it, the whole play, I mean, even his run up was weird. We'll talk about it more in the ratings and stuff. Well, at least I will.
yeah, yeah.
Um, of course, you mentioned Iwobi was going to be one of our main focal points for Fulham, which, clearly he was the one controlling the game. On our side, it was definitely a little different. At least when I seen Amorin pull up the lineup again, because we chatted about that earlier. I was kind of shocked myself when I seen it, only because I was like, okay, we played pretty well with Arsenal, so I was thinking maybe just like a few tweaks, right? But I mean, he made I think like three big changes, or at least like in my books there were three big changes, because I thought realistically like what we saw in the last game. All right, let's ease our striker. The right side. Maybe we need more of a focal attack. And then, oh yeah, Onana, he was hurt, so let's give him a chance. But you know, the manager did what he had to do, right? I think those were going to be some focal points we'll talk about. I definitely want to jump into the squad, but real quick, do you think the 1-1 is reasonable? Did you think, what did you think overall, though?
I mean, yeah, like I said, it was not an Arsenal game, right, where we were kind of robbed, or we felt robbed, right? No, it was pretty even. Like they had some decent chances, right? They held the ball for good spells. And we did too, right? We created chances. We dominated the ball at certain moments, so it was pretty even. So 1-1. Considering how the game went, you know wasn't kind of unexpected. But considering we were up a goal and we had a penalty moment, um, and just the way we started, right? We got to put those chances away. You have to take advantage of when you're dominating teams, right? Especially if it's that early on in the game. You score a goal, Cunha's, shot that hits the post goes in. That just changes the whole dynamic of the game, right? You keep putting the foot on them, they start feeling the pressure, they start crumbling more, their heads drop, or they push forward more because they're losing. They want to rescue a point, and then that plays into our hands with Mbuemo in behind Sesko, or even Cunha. So yeah, that's really it. We
Okay.
deserve what we got, basically.
So then, walk me through, right? You know, pulling up this lineup. Already know that we ended up 1-1. Like I said, they ended up taking away Euro's goal. Kind of sad because it would have been nice to see Euro have his first goal of the season. But
Yeah,
but after watching the replay, kind of looked like it was going out, but that didn't be too crazy. And then of course Smith Rowe, a few minutes in, scored a banger. Um,
yeah,
so starting up with the lineup, I know when we were chatting, right, there was a kind of some like controversy that we were talking about, only because Amarin says a few kind of words, um, kind of indicating maybe no goalkeeper, and of course we'll start with the goalkeeper because I always like starting from the back to the front. So the goalie he actually started with again, uh, which I ended up texting you. I felt like he would start him just because I don't know. I just Bendir, I don't know what about him like kind of like picks my interest. I think it's more of the fact that he plays these low balls, but I'm gonna tell you right now, and I know you're forgetting this moment. He sent that great over the top long ball to Cunha, and it's not the one that he hit the post. It's the one that he completely just missed. No, I think the goalie saved it, and I'm just like,
yeah. The goalie saves it.
and I'm like, like raising my head high. I'm like, no way. First off, Cunha, lovely touch though. But I was just like, dude, this would have been an assist from Bendier. Like he just created like one of the greatest chances I've ever seen in my life. Um, and so on the rating, 7.2. I mean I actually agree with that rating. Now real quick while we're here on the goalie though, I know we were talking about why you said that Onana is much better ball stopper. In the transfer news, they just announced that Man United are actually in for a new goalie, and I feel like that's probably the reason why they started him. Because if you think about it, I mean, a way to kind of like push a kind of like a goalie off, and I mean, Onana is basically the starter striker, or not the striker, but the starter goalkeeper. It's very, controversial to put him on the bench, while Benadir, he's always been on the bench. So, he knows that he's like a bench player. Because I feel like the new goalie would probably start over Onana once he's all ready and good to go. And Onana wouldn't want that. Now, like I said, Benadir did look very sloppy in these corners. Very, very bad because if Fulham actually took their chances properly or took the time to actually get the shot on target, probably would have slotted some of those shots in. But overall, I would say Benedict got 7.2. I mean, I would say, I mean, just because I'm a little harsher, I would go down and say a 7. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree. Like you were saying, about his ball playing ability. That's the funny thing. He has shown in the couple games that he has played for us, he can play out the back. He can play out the back pretty well, right? With both feet. That's the other really nice key part, right? And it's funny because I mean we literally paid so much money for Onana because he was supposed to be the best goalie in the world for doing that. Rivaling Ederson, but he's not. Biandir's better at him at playing at the back, which is just so ironic. And their shot stopping ability is kind of the same, right? So the coach kind of has his choice of who to pick, right? Because neither goalkeeper is like standing out, right? Um, well, actually, Biandir's standing out because he can at least play out the back, right? So
Yeah.
I'd agree. Overall, he played some. He kept things tidy. He didn't really lose the ball. Like he always made good choices when the ball came back to him, whether to try and keep possession, or clear it. Um, in terms of shot stopping, he was good. There was some good saves he made. Like he looked good overall. Early on in the game, there was even a moment where he rushed out properly because a player was put on through. And he rushed out properly and blocked the shot early on, which was really nice with his feet. So he had a good game. But I think that score would have been so different if those, blunder moments he had again on set pieces turned into goals. Because the balls that he missed dropped in such dangerous locations, they should have scored at least one of those opportunities. And his score would have been drastically different. So I would agree with you. I dropped his score down a little bit just because he allowed like 2 or 3 moments where like they should have scored a header. Like the ball literally dropped inside the 6 in the back post 3 times because homie is like putting his hands up, pushing people, like literally turning around at times. Like, how do I see our goalie facing his own net on a corner? How? Why? In what scenario does that need to be going on? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'd agree. Everything else besides corners would give him a 7.2 because those scenarios happened and he just got away with it. Nah, you got to bring his score down to 7. Maybe a 6.9. Maybe that's being harsh because nothing came of it. But, anyways,
But that's what I'm saying. But
that's what I
like,
say on that.
but those teams that like will take advantage of those. I mean, like I said, I think Fulham's striker wasn't really making the best of those opportunities that he had. That's why I said. So I mean, I was being harsh just because at the end of the day, I mean, if something did come of it, yeah, his rating would probably have gone to
Yeah,
five. You know.
I, I do have something to say about that. I was thinking about this, while I was watching the game. We need to have like a bodyguard system on these set pieces for Biandier. We need like the ligt just to stand with Biandier and block whoever's trying to pressure him. Like I'm tired of seeing him out like last game, being the guy who's blocking whoever's trying to um Biandier, because that's all they're targeting. They're not even putting the ball front post, or like on top of the box. They are literally curling it into his area and having somebody target him. So why don't we counter that and put fucking like Delict, or if McGuire's in the game, put him as the bodyguard. Everyone else can watch the ball, but we need somebody to protect him, because when he's not able to focus on jumping and at least punching it or catching it, it's creating such a dangerous scenario. Like I don't even care if there's a free man, right? Because it's worse when Biandir gets pushed out the way and he's like back to the goal and the ball's flying over his head and it's just a free header. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
and I mean
I
that
think
was,
we need to do something about that, because that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a goal a game, literally,
and
against us.
yeah, and I mean, I guess this will move on to our defenders, right? The thing is, our defensive line. I mean, the only person, like you said, if we put the lid there, then there's no one guarding like the other tall guys. Because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like we don't really have like the bigger guys that are able to do it. Because if not, they're already covering somebody else. Um,
But I'm okay with that, because as long as the ball's not dropping within the 6 yard box, right? That's the thing. They're blocking the goalie, so they're able to cross it closer. Like think in FIFA, right? Imagine you could do a tactic where you block the goalie. So you know how usually you try to cross it further away from the goalie, right? So he doesn't just come out and catch it. Well, guess what? They don't have to worry about that anymore, because they got somebody literally blocking him. So they're able to cross it. Literally, they can almost score an Olympico. Like that's what they're literally trying to do, because they can. They can get away with it. Um, so I would rather have somebody block the player, so that sure, maybe they start crossing it a little further away from the six, but that's less dangerous than getting a guaranteed ball dropping and flying over the 6 yard box.
yeah, no,
You
fair
get what I'm
point.
trying to say?
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's what I said. I mean, it's gonna be one of those things that I mean they're gonna abuse the mechanic, and I love how I use the word mechanic because you think about that in FIFA.
Yeah, that's how it feels,
But
man. It's
but
like a
yeah,
cheesy mechanic.
yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, we have to like at least either find a way to counter it or do something because if not, it's gonna keep happening regardless. But yeah, we'll move up to the
Yeah.
defenders. I'll let you pick whichever side you want to start off. Um, I mean, I would prefer you start with the right side and then we work our way to the left because I have something to say about the guy on the left.
Okay. Um. So yeah, Euro. I mean, same as always. Doesn't really put a bad foot, right? There was one moment, uh, where he even literally recovered on a long run, caught up to the guy, and made like a Wan-Bissaka like last minute tackle right outside the box and won the ball cleanly. It was like out of the air too. The ball like bounced, was up in the air, and he did like a scoop tackle. Like, bro, there's nothing this kid can't do, bro. He did stuff like that in the game. Obviously, the ball at his feet, kept it tidy. Driven to midfield a couple times to try to create space. Defended well on crosses and whatnot. And yeah, caused didn't get a goal per se today, but at least got on the end of a header in order to get it deflected in. So, as always, great performance. What do they have him? 7.5. I'd probably bump that up, to be honest. I probably bumped it up to like a 7.8. Like it was a solid performance as usual.
Um,
So
and I told you about this kid, right? I told you that I think every game he's gonna at least be above a seven or above. Which in this game, I mean, it definitely showed. I mean, unfortunately, he didn't get the goal, but like I said, the thing that matters is he put his body in the line. Got the header because clearly, there's a bunch of players in the box. So yes, a lucky deflection, but it still went into the back of the net, right? Which is very crucial
Yep.
because, like I said, I mean, set pieces aren't very like our expertise on them, so it's very good to see us score those kind of opportunities because I feel like we get a lot of those, but we just never score them unless we have like Harry Maguire in there, right? And those are usually like
Yeah,
the
I agree.
last minute. Um, so overall, good, good thing. Like I said, the only one that it made it look bad was the one they scored, but that's because it wasn't even his fault. It's because of how we lost the ball, and then they took advantage of it. But that's, like I said, it wasn't even his fault. um,
Hmm.
so overall, great performance from Euro. A young kid, able to keep on his own. We'll go ahead and move on to our center mid guy. Well, not center mid, but center back, center mid guy. Center back, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So yeah, I got you. Yeah. So the like kind of same story. Was great, just like the first game. He was kind of the guy. When they put balls over the top, or they're trying to ping it to their striker to try to hold it up and retain possession. He was there, right? He was aggressive, like he was Gyokeres. He great at jumping over the defender. When they played into the striker, he was there, pressing the back, winning the ball sometimes, or at least putting enough pressure where a second man could come in and nick the ball off of him. So yeah, in possession he was fine. Nothing crazy. He played a couple switches that were pretty nice. That I hope he can do a little more of. Because it would help us out in our attack. Um, but yeah, he was good. The only thing I would say is on the goal. He has this weird tendency to do this. He'll pull out randomly. Like most of the times, if a ball's coming across him, he's there to intercept it, right? Put it in a tackle or stick a head out. But every now and then, he'll have like this weird confidence of like, oh, I can just let it run, right? And it's not going to be a dangerous ball. He did that on the goal. You'll see the striker in front of him put a foot out, and instead of him putting a foot out behind to catch it or to clear it, he like puts his hands up to like let it ride, and it goes into Smith Rowe. So that's the only thing I'll say negative about him because he's done it a few times. I think he did that against last week against Arsenal for that one goal. He kind of like did a little duck, letting it run by. So that's really my only my critique about him. He kind of does that every now and then, but other than that, he was good, right? So what rating do they have? 7.6. Yeah, that's fair. That's good. That's a good rating for him.
And I mean, like I said, as a center back, I mean his role is to control both the right and left, right, kind of keep him in line. So yeah, that 7.6 is a good spot for him. I think anything, like I said, if you wanted to critique him about that goal, that's fair enough. Now, realistically, though, I think what is also like a big issue is every time he does make those like dives or stuff, that's how he gets injured. Though I don't know if you remember last season, he does the little like reach out and then he'll like pull something because he's trying to extend himself. And I think he was already in an awkward situation that led up to the goal because if you saw, because we how we lost the ball, everyone was already out of place, right? So he's trying to like bring everybody back. And like I said, he actually wasn't even like I said, he wasn't even supposed to be the guy marking Jimenez because that's who it was. Who he was, the striker that ended up making like the touch. Um, he actually was trying to tell Shaw over here on the other side to mark the guy because clearly, like I said, he was cutting in. Because at the end of the day, right, the problem with three center backs is, you kind of start to get crowded once we lose position, and then everyone's trying to bundle up without trying to crash into each other. Um,
Mm.
so like if he, like I said, if he ends up moving and leaving the center spot, then it kind of ruins like the space because if our other like players don't cover that area, then yeah, right, it's gonna look really bad on the lit just because he's the one covering most of the dangerous spots. Uh, so I feel like I said I can't really like hash him too hardly because at the end of the day I don't want him rushing out there and then trying to extend something and then he hurts himself because, like I said, he was already in an awkward situation when we got countered. But like I said, yeah, if he stuck out a leg, would it have probably bounced off 100%? But at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, he should also have some confidence in his other players that lead up to the goal, which leads up to the player that's right next to him, which is what I was telling you. The problem that was gonna be an issue if he like, especially because you mentioned like his confidence, right? And that's gonna be Luke Shaw, who I would say was probably the worst out of our defenders, and that's very harsh of me. I know for one of our players, but I just feel like you said, right? Confidence is very important on this, and being taking one on ones is going to be very crucial because, like I said, you don't have left backs, right backs to kind of cover yourself, so you have to make proper judgment calls, especially because if not, then like I said, the lit cannot be the only one covering all these areas. If you can't like take your guy, then it's gonna be we're gonna be very exposed in the back. I'm gonna let you talk though because, like I said, I didn't really watch all the game. I just saw the highlights where he was getting cooked, and I was like, oh no.
So I think overall he was okay. I don't think he was terrible, but yeah, with what we're trying to do, like I mentioned in the previous video, because we're pressing so high, because of the way the formation's set up, it's kind of man to man, right? The way we defend at times, right? And because it's man to man, it is so vital for each player, especially in the back line, to win their individual battles, right? Their 1v1s. So yeah, there were moments where he got caught out, right? And in last game, he did pretty well on his one-on-ones, right? He had Saka pretty locked down. So every time Saka was one-on-one with him, he either won the ball or, pushed him wide and slowed him down. But today he got beat a couple times, and that opened up, large spaces for counters, like you said in those highlights that you saw. For the most part, he was fine, but those moments definitely, kind of exposed us. And secondly, kind of on the ball, he's kind of just. This is the thing I don't like about him and Maguire. They're not bad players on the ball, but they don't have that. I guess like a lot of games they lose confidence, and they don't have that confidence to like make the risky pass more often than they should, right? Ping the ball across field, right? Send a player in behind. They make the easy pass, and not only do they make the easy pass, they're just kind of like going through the motions, and it slows down our offense, and it just like sucks all the fire out of any momentum we have while we're building up and try to create chances, right? They play it too safe. And that's my problem with him is like when he wants to, you know, use his nice left foot and put in some crosses, ping the ball in behind, he can do it. He just doesn't do it enough. Like he'll miss one pass once, and like in his head he loses confidence that he doesn't even try it the rest of the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I miss about having Martinez there. Not only is Martinez gonna hit the pass more often than not, even if he misses, bro, he's still gonna keep going with that enthusiasm, trying to break the lines, trying to beat a man and create advantages from the back. Like we really need Martinez in this setup because it starts from your center backs. They create the tempo in the system, and having Martinez, especially the way our midfield is kind of lacking on creating tempo, I think it's gonna be game changer, man. And again, I don't think Shaw's terrible. Like every now and then he has a phenomenal game, like last game, but today really wasn't it for him. So what did they give him? A 6.4? I think that's fair. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't. I don't think it was his best game. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Do you want my honest truth? At least from what I saw, I would
Yeah, go
say
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm gonna rip the band-aid. I would say he was a four.
Cabbage.
I would say a four.
Damn.
Only
Really?
because only because like I told you, right. The thing that I'm worried about him is that, uh, like I said, dude, I just feel like he doesn't got, at least like we were talking about with Martinez, right? The ability to kind of pressure up. Like I said, for that left center back, what did I tell you that I would like for them? Like more of them to kind of push up, be that other midfield, kind of fill in the gap. Because I think the issue is, and we're gonna keep running into this issue until hopefully the transfer window ends this end of the week or the month. If we don't do that, I mean, dude, we're gonna get caught out so many times. And I think what also was the problem in this game is, dude, his left wingback was also having a bad game, and if he's having a bad game, you could clearly see that he wasn't able to keep up. And I think that's why you were saying he had a good game in Arsenal game, because I think our left wingback was actually having a great game that day. This game he did not, and like I said, because of that, it was really on Shaw, which is what we were talking about, which is he has to be able to deal with a man on man. I think what kept catching him was that I think he just I don't know. I feel like he just wasn't looking up. I feel like he kept looking down, looking at one person, and then was like, "All right, I can do this pass." Dude, he used to be able to whip those balls, or make the crazier passes. Like, come on, man. Like, I need more from you.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of hard because he's in a weird situation. Because, like I said, he's like a center back, but he's not really playing. He's also like playing left back in a way to push up. So I mean, like I said, I don't want to be harsh, but I just feel like, dude, if he's playing like this, it's the inconsistency for me, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you,
it's the
you
confidence. It's really just it. He's got the ability. He's got the archetype, right? He kind of plays like Martinez. Like, bro, just believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, because like I said,
believe in
dude,
your teammates. Send them in behind a couple times, right?
yeah, because like I said, dude, if Euro and Delay are able to play consistently, like, dude, Charlie, you got to be able to play in the same level, like, and the thing
Yep.
is,
Yep.
and it's gonna be for all our players. I'm like I said, I'm gonna be very harsh on this one, just because I know when we last talked on the Arsenal game, I felt like we needed. I know we played good and we deserved the win, but yet this game, I felt like the 10 minutes was like that, and then after that it was just we shut down. Um, so at least that's my opinion of four. Like I said, if that's just me being very harsh. Um, because at the end of the day, dude, I need him to step up. Like I said, he's been in the team almost the longest. He's been injury prone. Like, come on, man. Like, step it up now. You literally, we've given you like so many chances. Like, this is your time to kind of put it up. Same like I told you about Mount, right? He's got to step up too. When we get up to him, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that man is still that one to watch player because I just thought that. But we're still working our way up. So that's just my opinion. Like I said, if you're thinking I'm being a little harsh, I'll meet you maybe in the middle, say a five, and go from there. But that's just that for that. Like I said, overall,
Yeah.
defenders were okay other than him. Even that substitution, that defender wasn't too bad either, and we'll go to the subs too. So we'll work our way up to
Mhm.
the left wing back, which I know when we last were talking, we were talking about players to watch here in the Fulham game, and I told you Dorgo would probably be the one to watch because I felt like he would have been very important in these roles, which he should have been. So I only seen one highlight in this highlight reel for him, and it was so embarrassing because it was when he was playing a ball, I think with Cunha, and he like got the ball out in the wing. He went to like cross it, and it went to the side netting. I was like, dude, at least put it like in the dangerous area, which is what we were talking about in the Arsenal game. Like, dude, you gotta at least put like the ball in the box. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's our issue. Is like we're not putting them in dangerous spots. Uh, I feel like our attacking center mid is doing that, and I was like, Dorgu needs to be doing the same. Because if not, I feel like this formation isn't gonna work because I feel like that they're literally in the name, right? Left attacking wing, so they're supposed to be able to make those attacking. And then defending wise, I just don't know what happened. I don't know if it's because he kept getting caught off like from when he was be pushing up too high. Like I just don't know, man. It was just a rough game for Dorgu. I'm gonna be very honest. That one was rough. I for me, I would say Dorgu was like a 4-2 with Shaw. Because, like I said, you could clearly see that side was lacking. So, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say a four.
I told you,
You
man.
know,
I'm the guy that's ripping off the band-aid today because at the end of the day, you
but
got
I
to.
think no, I just don't think it's a four though. I can see what you're saying with Shaw, but he was fine. Like he kind of did the things he always does, right? He didn't have enough space like he did against Arsenal, right? For him to, you know, kind of use his strength, right? But defensively, he was fine. Yeah, sure, he got beat maybe a couple times, but for the most part, he always recovered. He always, kind of put the player off on his wing. Um, yeah, I think it was fine. And then offensively, like he got up, he got into good positions. He linked up with Cunha a couple times. But yeah, of course, there were a couple moments where he could have done better crossing. The moment you were talking about, though, Homeboy was at the end of a long sprint, and he was off balance and reaching for a last minute cross. And yeah, he hit the side netting, but that's a bit harsh when you're running, 35 kilometers per hour, 100 yards, and then you're barely reaching a ball before it goes out. That's not easy to kind of get your bounds and your
He's
balance
the quick
at the last
Danish.
minute.
What you mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I would agree though. That is one part of his game where if he could get that right, and we already talked about this in one of the last videos, he'd be like the complete winger. Like he'd be the by far the perfect player in that position. So yeah, he's definitely got to clean that up a bit. But he had good moments. Like he would get the ball up, he would stand up a player, you know, juke him out wide, or cut inside and find a man inside like Cunha or Mount. Um, he spread the field well, like he's supposed to. Yeah, I think 6.2, the rating he has, is fine. I think 4 is way too harsh.
All
Right?
right.
There weren't enough blunder moments or just him just being absolutely useless offensively or defensively to be a 4, right? He put in a shift. He did, he covered ground. He provided some width, had some decent, runs like he usually does, driving the ball, taking on a player. So yeah, I think, what is it? 6.2, 6.4. That's kind of fine for me.
And like I said, remember, guys, I've
Um,
only watched the highlights, so I can only go off of what I seen in the highlights. Ivan is the pro expertise. Remember, his rating might be more accurate. I'm just ripping off the band-aid from what I seen, which is gonna move
I
to
know,
my,
bro. I know, bro.
which is what I'm gonna move to our Capitano, and I'm gonna give him a straight 3, the harshest one of
All
them
right,
all.
that's
The
crazy. That's
harshest one, the
crazy.
harshest one of them all. Right? I gotta be the harshest
That's
critic.
crazy.
Um, I feel like, and this is gonna be the issue, right? And I'm just gonna tell you right now, I feel like we have too many tens, man, on this team. We have too many tens.
Okay, that is true. That is the
Yeah,
first true
yeah,
thing you said today.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
a hundred
And
percent
and the
accurate.
yeah,
Yes, we do.
and the only reason I'm saying that is just because, like I said, from what I've seen in the game, it's just very. It's not. It's very like you can't miss it, right? It's just and it's there's gonna be another player that why I say we have too many tens. Um, and the only reason that I was just saying the 3 is because there's only 2 highlights that I seen from him, that was on the clip. So there's, of course, the penalty, and like I said, social media posted that Balarkey. Um, I'm not gonna be like, ah, oh, dude, he missed the penalty. He should have scored. Like, dude, he's taking so many penalties. Like, eventually he's gonna have to miss, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I wish I could say Bruno was our 100% like penalty taker, and he will always be like, what I mean. There's other players and other teams that make miss penalties and they get swapped off. Like Bruno, like with confidence, like even though he missed, I'm pretty sure the next one, like he's his harshest critic, dude. He's always gonna try to improve his
Yeah, for
game.
sure.
And
Yeah, I'm
then
not worried about that at all.
yeah,
It
the
sucks, but
yeah, the
it is what it
only
is.
other one that I seen, I think it's when he passed the ball to like Cunha, and that was like a good pass, but it was after he made a mistake on the ball, and those were like the 2 highlights on that thing. Like I said, I think on at least from when I was looking on like the stats wise on like his positioning, of course, a lot of his positioning is like very high up, and like I told you because we have Casemiro next to him. It's very hard to believe that we can be playing like that. I know you mentioned Fulham was playing a little bit more possessive in the midfield, which I feel like was crucial because I feel like our midfield lacks that. um, so, like I said, the only reason why I was saying a three is because I only seen two, and from the little possession stats, kind of going off of that vibe. Am I being hard? Yeah, But I mean, if anything, if I was to say like a real rating, I would say maybe like five, maybe like a six. But from only the two that I seen, it was like I had to give him a three. You know.
Yeah, so I agree with you. Not that it was a three, but I do agree that
Thanks, bro. I knew you would agree with me.
this this 7.2 is a bit generous. Not because he didn't put up decent stats and whatnot and didn't really contribute to the game, but the fact that, like you said, we have too many tens. Like he's trying to do stuff that we already have players in positions to do that, right? What we need from him is to be more of a traditional eight and pick up the ball from the center backs and keep possession. He will drop back and pick up the ball, but then he's springing too many balls in behind and making too many risky passes and losing the ball as if he's still up the pitch as a 10, right? Which he was allowed to do back then. He was allowed to give the ball away and try things, but from our eights, we need tidiness. We need somebody to set the tempo. We need somebody who can defend, which he's not bad at, but we need somebody better, right? It's only two guys. Like, they need to be dogs, right? They're sharing a tremendous load in the midfield, right? Always playing against three guys. It's always 2v3, right? So I would agree with you. His rating should definitely drop just because in that aspect, he did not perform a 7 out of 2 rating, right? It's almost like they're rating him as if he's still playing in the 10. In the 10, sure, he was decent. He created some chances up the pitch. He got in good positions, got some shots off, but that's not what we need from our center mid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, that's really all I have to say about him. He missed a pen. I'm not really too fussed about that. It is what it is. It sucked in the moment, but I'm not gonna talk shit about Bruno when he makes literally 99% of his penalties for us.
Yeah,
So
and that's what I said,
I'd
right?
agree.
Like I
Six
said,
point nine.
yeah. In the moment, like as a United fan, it is gunning to see him miss, only because like it's always nice when you get your first goal of the season. So I think that was the only thing. Now, while we're here, though, I do have one quick question. Um, so I heard still Saudi is interested. Would you take the money now and sell him so that we can get a new midfielder? Now, if you want to answer and say something, it would be important to say something.
Yeah, my bad. I was muted. But I was just saying that is such a hard question to answer, right? Because there's such an emotional factor with him. He's been so good for us. He's been, one of our star players, one of my favorite players, one of most people's favorite players. And it's just a hard question because the reality is we should. He doesn't have a role in our team, and the role that he could fit in, we've already strengthened and bought players for, right? So the right answer is yes, we should sell him. If there is 100 million offer, sell him, get Baliba, get somebody that actually fits your position, or Adam Warren. Um, but my heart is telling me, nah, man, you can't do that. You can't get rid of Bruno. You just can't. So
And
I can't even give you an answer. If I'm
and
being honest, I can't.
and that's the dilemma, right? And the only reason, I think that's the real question, right? Though it's more of, it's like how do you fit him basically like how do you fit him in the story, right? Like that's what I told you, like, and I told you at the beginning of the preseason, like he's gonna look like a villain, only because like I said, there's not like a really a role he fits in, and it's scary because, like I said, I love Bruno. Bruno was like, when he came in, dude, I got his jersey right away. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's and when he picked up the mantle from Mata, dude, I was just like, oh man, like how do you get rid of that player? But it's just very hard, right? Like because like, United, like to push forward. I mean, like I said, right? You cannot not play Bruno, right? The thing is, if you play him, you're kind of just opening yourself for like the worst, right? And that's what I said. I don't know. It's because like if we don't do it, I don't want to hate him either. Like just because he's not playing like how he would be, and I think that's
Hmm.
the debacle that we're gonna be in. I know that was a tough
Yeah.
question for you, viewers. Like I said, you guys can answer. I really want to hear from the United supporters because, like I said, you know, 100 million, right, is really what, like, it's probably what the Saudi people are looking for on him, and that would be able to solve our midfield. Like, it would just really just solve it. Um, like I said, I don't want to dive too deep into that. I just wanted to leave that in the air because I know that was one of the main focal points that was happening, after the game. We'll be moving on to
Yeah.
Casemiro, and this is where where it came into different aspect, right? I feel like, and I told you, he's more like a body, he's there, and I think the thing is he's slow. Let's all just say it, right? He's slow. There's no ifs or buts around it. He just
And
cannot
that's
keep.
really it. That's
Yeah,
really all there is to say about him. Is
yeah,
like,
he just can't keep up with these plays, man. Like it's so hard. Like I told you right in the game, like the counterattacks are real. Like once because we only have these two midfielders, right? The defenders cannot back them up because the moment they do, they're left open. Because the thing is, our wingback,
bro, bro,
our,
for real. Our literally our center mids will push so far up. I'll see it all the time. They'll press so far up, and one pass will bypass them. And bro, the space between them and the center backs is ridiculous.
and that's why I said, and Casemiro ain't catching, dude. I'm sorry, but he's just
Nope.
not catching. And the thing that is very like awkward is he looks way better than Agarte. Um, and that's the issue, right? Um, so for me,
On the ball.
yeah, on the ball, of course. The issue for me, did he? I think, because I was being really harsh on Bruno for a 3. I would say he's like a 4. But that's just more because he's
Dang,
slow.
bro, what
Yeah,
the
but
what are these ratings?
dude, it's more because of these highlights, bro. Like I
I thought
said,
we lost 5-0.
no, dude. If we lost like that, they would all be getting like zeros. But I'm just, dude. That's what I said. It's because of last season, man. I cannot have that, dude. It's 2 games. We got 1 point. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, dude. Like,
I get that. Look, there is a lot of negativity around United already,
yeah.
as it always is, right? And I can understand it to a certain extent, right? A lot of the fans and people in general are kind of just scarred, right, from previous years and whatnot. But the narrative that, like, people are pushing around that we have not changed, there's no difference, is like so disingenuous because when you watch the games, it's not the same. Like, it is not. I watched games last year. We were awful. Like, we had no movement, no identity, no threat. Like, I would watch games and I could not tell you how the hell we were gonna score and how the hell we were gonna stop teams from just dominating us and creating chances, right? That is all changed. It is not the same, right? Of course, the results aren't there, and that's what matters, right? We need to get the points on the board. I understand that. But for people to be all disingenuous and being like, Amorin out, like, people are literally saying Amorin out already.
And let me stop you
Like,
there.
there's no way.
And let me stop you there. I'm not saying we haven't changed. The thing is, I think, and one of the key aspects is this formation cannot work if we don't have a midfield, like, um attacking wise, oh dude, we look beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Defensive wise, you know, look, we've only conceded 2 goals. The thing is, this formation relies heavily on a midfield that's going to control the game, right? Because
I,
you can't
I
rely
get that.
you can't rely on a defender to give it to the striker. For crying out loud, the only type of attack that I seen when our midfield did anything was, like I said, when Bruno like ended up finally getting the ball through. Like I said, Benedier gave a brilliant ball, better than, like I said, the midfield, and he's all the way back there. That's really why I'm saying it's hard, right? Because, dude, in this game, and like I told you in Arsenal, right? If a team that's gonna be very good in midfield we play up against, you're gonna see our midfield struggle. And I would leave it at that, because if we keep going, we're gonna go past our bedtimes. Um,
Okay,
so
okay, okay. I'll make a brief comment though. Let me make a brief comment. I understand that, but again, that's another narrative that I don't like, where people are already saying this formation doesn't work. Get rid of Amarin. 4-3-3 works better. Like you said, that we don't have the players to work this formation. But guys, that's not the coach's fault. And again, we are trying to win the Prem in 2023. That's the goal. So why are we caring so much about, oh, it doesn't work now, so let's just throw everything out the window, and instead of trying to work as one system and get used to it, let's just switch to another system because the players we currently have aren't ready for it.
we're gonna
Like,
win the Prem in 2023.
how do we expect to cook to the Man City levels when they had their system set up? How do we expect to cook like Arsenal did 2 years ago when they're playing this crazy football? Like, we have to build towards it. That's my thing. Is I get it. If we don't get points in Amarin's bottom half of the table, it don't matter what process you're building. You need some results. I get that. But the way people are reacting after 2 games, acting like get them out, toss the formation out the window. Like, come on, guys, relax. We played Arsenal, which everybody's saying they're gonna win the league, and we should have beat them. We got unlucky with VAR in some situations, and in this game, sure, it wasn't as good, but it was away. It was at a field that we struggle at. 1-1. Like, guys, relax. You know what I'm saying?
So what's your two piece about
Like,
Casemiro then?
we gotta try it out, and it's not this guy's fault. He just showed up halfway through the season when he didn't want to. He said, "Look, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to put myself in a shitty situation. Bring me in the summer." And the board forced them, so now they have to back him. They put him in a shitty situation. Now they need to give him the tools. They've gave him some of the tools, but we ain't billionaires. We ain't fucking Chelsea, where we can sign a player in every position or two in every position in one window. Like, it's gonna take time. We know what the problems are. He's aware of it. That's why they were trying to get Baliba. They know what they need. We just have to bear with it, and we got to make do. That's just the reality, right? Everybody's saying we need a world class goalkeeper. Homie, we ain't got the funds. We buying this Laments kid for a reason, because he's the best situation we can afford,
Yep,
right?
we're broke,
With the best
guys.
upside, right?
We're broke.
We're broke. So I get it. Bruno, Casemiro, not working. What else can we do? We ain't got shmoneys, right? We gonna have to wait till January or the summer, and we're gonna have to make do. One thing people have been saying, which I can kind of see, is they're crying out for Kobe. The problem though is, man, Kobe ain't got no legs. So you talking about Casemiro being slow? I swear Kobe is slower. Just because he's shorter, and I don't know, just his body type, he can't schmoove like that. And he's weaker on like headers and stuff. Like, so it I get it, but I mean, what do you want Emmer to do? He's not gonna change his whole formation because he don't got all the pieces. That just don't make sense to me. You gotta make it work. You gotta figure it out. The players gotta adapt
Yeah.
for the time being until they get sold off, and we get some dogs. We get some Balibas and some Adam Warrens. You know what I'm saying?
So then, what's your 2 cents on Casemiro's performance?
I think it was okay. Again, it's just when he is, because he's not physically there, he's not in positions where he needs to be. But when he's in those positions, he makes good tackles and he does decent passes. But like you said, because of the way formation set up, because it's two guys, he can't get into the right positions all the time, like he needs to be. You get what I'm saying? So, 6.7. I think that's cool. That's fine.
Okay, all right.
Um,
Um, so then goes to our last midfielder, in which is Ahmad, and I would say Ahmed played like Ahmed, and if that makes sense. Defensively, he's not defensive. And that's just what I seen in the highlights. So I don't know like I said, I don't know all of the like ups and downs. From what I seen, like I said, it's just really hard for him because, like I said, we have too many dang number tens. Because that's what Ama does too. He plays like a number 10 as well. Um, and he's more of like up top, so like a right winger, not So that's that's all I'm gonna say because that's all I can say. Like I said, he had
and
a
to be honest, that's all there is to say.
yeah,
Like he defensively, he's good defending forward, like pressing up high. He's pretty good at that. He's good at nicking the ball off people. But on the back foot, that's not really his forte, and we get that, and we're willing to accept that, right? So I ain't even gonna complain about that in the game. He was okay. He got beat a couple times, whatever. But the problem, like you said, his archetype, where he likes to play, is too similar to Mbuemo and
yeah,
the other tens. He
yep,
tries to go in those pockets. Like he will start off wide because he knows he's a wingback, but as the play continues, homie, like a magnet, is getting dragged deeper and deeper inside to the point where, just like last game, he's stepping over Mbuemo's toes in the box trying to get a shot off. And
yeah,
that's a problem.
and
I'm not gonna lie.
it really
That's
is.
something I don't know what we can do. Because clearly the coach subbed him out and put in Dallo because of that. Because he put in Sesko and he's like, look, from what I'm seeing, we're not getting those right-footed crosses from the side with Diallo in there. So he put in
The low,
Dallo for that reason. But we don't have to get on Dallo. It's the same old story with him too, right?
I
He doesn't want to attack.
yeah,
He's too scared.
and we'll talk about the subs eventually. Like I said, that's why I
Yeah, we'll
said
talk about it eventually.
yeah, that's what I
But
said.
I would drop his rating down
Yeah, no, no,
if
no.
I'm being honest.
Yeah, I would, but look, I would give him a 6. Okay, I would definitely just give him a 6.
No, I would drop him lower.
You would say
And
lower. You would say like you say
well,
I'm being
well, well
harsh.
but no, 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 no. But this is similar to the Bruno thing, right? I'm dropping him lower not because did he contribute? Sure, 6.2 makes sense. He had some moments, but the thing is, he's not in contributing the way a right wingback needs to contribute. He's contributing like a fucking 10.
Yep.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like he's
Yeah.
going in the positions where Mbuemo would be at, and it's like, why do we have two players on the field who are going to occupy and are most effective in the same location?
Yeah. And
You get what I'm saying?
no, and
It's almost like when they swap, because they swap sometimes, and I thought that was a cool idea until I realized, okay, but even when they swap, all they want to do is, all right, Diallo, you come inside, cool. I'll stay outside. But once the moment Mbuemo gets the ball outside, guess where he wants to go? Right back inside. Like nobody wants to be out wide on that right side. And it's like it defeats the whole purpose. You're not creating space for each other. You're literally like it's like the Vinny Jr. and Mbappe situation. Mbappe's technically playing striker, but guess where he picks up the ball every time they attack? Off the left. Standing literally over Vinny. And it's almost like you got two players that don't need to be on the field at the same time because their best attacks are in the same spot. So that is a huge problem. Again, his rating isn't terrible because he created moments, but it's like we would benefit more from a 5 out of 10 right wing back who actually played right wing back, if you get what I'm saying.
yeah.
Because then it would allow Mbuemo to be more free, right? In those pockets and stay in those pockets, right? And not be forced out wide where he doesn't really want to be.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. I wouldn't give him a 4 or nothing crazy, but at least put a 5.9 as a right wing back.
Oh, okay, so close enough to
So
me. Six, like a six, 5.9, close enough. Okay, yeah, because like I said, I mean,
yeah,
I think the dilemma, and no offense for Mob, I think it's just like I don't think you're scoring them off like their actual position that they're supposed to be playing, and that's like I said, I think with Diallo that you could, I felt that he just wasn't playing that role that he should be. So we'll move. We'll
exactly.
move. So we'll move up to our center attacking mids and striker. Um, so we'll start off with Mbuemo. Ivan, go ahead and give me your feedback.
Yeah, so Mbumo, he really didn't get going, right? He had it's kind of the same thing, right? Where he had moments, right? He got into good areas, at times, maybe took a bad touch or just wasn't quick enough, or one of our players didn't find him when he was making a good run. So 6.2, I think it's fine. He defended pretty well from the front. Um, he created good moments out wide, caused the players a couple trouble out there, drawing fouls and whatnot. And he put some decent crosses in, which is he's always going to be useful, regardless of how good he's playing. He's always going to be useful in set pieces, and he's the one that got the assist for the own goal, right? So yeah, 6.2 is fine. I think though you could tell he's not really up to fitness, right? There are moments where like he's trying to bust a gut, and he's just like a split second too slow. So Amarin has talked about it, and people around the camp have mentioned it. Like he's at like 50% of his fitness, and once he gets to full fitness, I think he'll start really being able to contribute in terms of goals and assists a little more. Um, so I think 6.2 is cool,
Okay. And I
or
hope
whatever
you,
that says.
and I hope you know it says six point
6.7. That's
seven. Yeah, they said 6.7 for both of them, but it's okay. Um, but yeah, for Mbumo, I definitely see what you're saying about him not being fully fit, which probably impacts the game for him. Like I said in these highlights, yeah, he wasn't there. The only one I seen was the cross that where he should have got the assist, but that was it. I mean, like I told you in the Arsenal game, I think he just needs to have better decision making. But I think it is also impacting with the players around him. So not gonna be too harsh. I think a solid 6 for me is where he's at. Nothing lower, nothing higher though. If I was being generous, maybe a 6.3 just to go higher than you, but that's about it. You know. Um, but yeah, I just feel like decision making was just it has to be a little bit better from him. Um, but like I said, I think it was kind of harsh because I mean, like I said, Diallo kind of like also took a lot of his space too. So he was kind of working with less. And like I told you, the thing if that happens is you're just bringing more defenders on you guys. You guys aren't like bringing anybody out away from each other. So that's about it on my piece on that. And that's like I said, I'm only going off a highlight. So if viewers, if you guys seen anything more or anything like you're like, oh dang, David, you didn't talk about his great, yo, get me, let me know. I would like to know. So if Ivan's wrong, let him know. At least that way I can be like, yo, Ivan, guess what? You
I
were
can't
wrong.
handle it.
You were wrong. I would love
I
to
can't
say it to
handle it.
him.
Don't say nothing.
So then we'll move over to Money Mount and Ivan. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're gonna sound like broken records from last week, but pretty much same performance, right?
He was looking
Really good
saucy.
pressing,
He was looking saucy, right?
really good, yeah, really good pressing up front, right? Won the ball back that one time that Cunha, was able to hit the post. And build up was good, linking up play, switching the ball a few times. Linking up with Dorgu and whatnot. Sorry about that. And there was only one moment where I was kind of disappointed in him. He had a good break where Mbuemo was making a perfect run, and if he just fed him to his feet, Mbuemo could have took a touch and got a shot off, maybe scored. But he tried to like through ball it around the defender instead of playing to the feet. But other than that, I mean, again, same as last game. Press well, like I said, linked up play. Created some decent chances. I think he was good. But again, it's one of those things, right, where you have him on the field, he helps out in that aspect. But then the other thing is, you ain't got no focal point in the box, right? Which, like I said before, when we have the ball out wide with these wingbacks, we really need to have someone in there to finish those crosses, right? Because these wingbacks are wide, right? And the only way for them to, create any sort of chance is putting in a cross, right? So that's the only drawback of him, right? When he's on the pitch, at least as a number 9. But yeah, no complaints. If he can just be our backup sub, he'll be great. To be honest, be a great backup sub. If anything happens to Cunha, I won't even be too worried because he's been looking good. So that's a positive.
So what would you rate him?
Probably getting like a 7-3.
Oh, 7-3. Ah.
Yes, sir.
Um, yep, and you're right. We're broken records. I called it, and I'll tell you again. He is the one to watch, just because, like I said, he's actually. I mean, he is performing, like at least in again with the number 10. And I'm sorry, guys, but number 10 role, right? Just too many of them. But I feel like he's actually playing that role if he's in that position, which this time he was playing that role. Cunha is the one playing up top, but he's playing actually pretty good. I don't know what it's turned up with him, but these saucy passes, I'm liking it because it's creating these openings that I didn't even think was like possible. I think he was the one that linked up well where Cunha ended up hitting the bar, and I was like, dang, dude, Mount's about to get maybe might be the one to get the most assists because he's just giving all these balls, and our strikers just happen not to be finishing. Um,
Hmm.
right now, he's actually looking more able to play than Bruno, and that's saying something a little bit. That's just in my opinion. In the highlights, like I said, I do see him very promising. I would say 7.4 is right in the money, right there, right? Um, but of course, like you said though, right? If he's playing, that means we're probably not gonna have a striker, which leads us up to the last man. I think it's
Yeah,
away.
yeah. So I feel for Cunha, man. He's been so unlucky these first 2 games, man. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if there's this curse around our club, man. But like, there's just no way that he hasn't scored a goal yet. Like, there genuinely is no way. The shots he's taken, the positions he's been, like, he's doing everything right. He just hasn't scored yet, and it's very frustrating. And you can see it on his reactions. Like, he is dying for that first goal. And I think it's gonna help his game out when he gets that first goal, just because I feel like at times he may be doing a little too much on his own, right? When he can feed the ball out wide, or you know, kind of build up the play a little better to get a better, opportunity. But I think he played good. He's probably one of our better players in terms of our attack, at least. Um, Always on the threat, always, taking the right touch, taking a good touch to beat a man, or open up a little space for a shot. Especially in those first 10 minutes, he was great. Um, he was phenomenal. So yeah, I probably give him like a 7-7, 7-8 for sure. One of our better players. Um, like I said, he's just very unlucky, man. But he's gonna get a goal soon. Hopefully, when I'm in Manchester, I can see him. I can see him put one of them back in net. We'll see.
Oh yes,
But
and that brings us to our other news, real quick. About we're gonna be our main man Ivan Zinagi front row seats. Okay, I'm just joking. Not maybe front row seats, but he will be in Old Trafford
I'll be
getting.
in Rosette.
He'll be he'll be getting He'll be getting updates. He'll be able to talk to the manager himself, figure out his play
Yeah.
by play.
Stop promising all this. I ain't
Oh,
doing nothing. I'm
okay.
going for
Oh,
vacation personal experience, all right? No channel, no business, just straight casual trip.
maybe some
But I will
business.
be there.
Maybe some business. We might get
Maybe.
we
We'll see
might
how it goes.
yeah, we might get the podcast with the view. Just to get extra spice.
Yeah, there you go.
But
You'll get vibes. I'll bring the vibes.
yeah, he'll
Yeah.
definitely do that for us. But bringing it back, um, Cunha, yeah, very unlucky, very unlucky. I hope this does not defeat him because I feel like that happens a lot. When you're just not getting it. Um,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie though, he is very impressing me right now. Like I said, the when the goalie did the over the top ball and he had the 1-on-1, I know he didn't score it, but dude, that touch was crazy. I was like, oh, and
Bro,
he's
bro,
took the
the pace, the physique to like nudge the defender just a little bit, right? To put him off. The touch and even the shot was pretty decent. Like, oh my
That's what I
God,
said.
man,
Like
this guy's
everything.
so lucky.
That's what I said. Like it would have been, dude. I'm telling you, he literally is just cooking right now. Um, he's literally gonna get the Puskas Award. Like he should have had it so many times already. Just look like. But yeah, very unfortunate. I know he kind of like disappeared like the second half. But I just yeah, it just all the players kind of disappeared the second half. So yeah, the 7 would be fine for me. Um, Dude, I just can't wait to see him score the first goal though. I can tell he really wants it so bad. Like I've never seen
Hmm.
the desire to score in like a player. I mean, I know there's another player we could talk about, Hoyland. Who he has a desire too, but this guy, he's got it differently though. Cunha's got it different.
For sure.
So yeah, overall, like I said, the 11. Uh, I mean, I know it's a 1-1 draw. Very frustrating to see, like, I guess regression in a way. Just because we definitely needed 3 points for sure, especially against, like I said, Fulham, because we really need to be taking these chances against these players. Like I said,
Yeah.
I think
We have a tough schedule coming up, really.
yeah, like I said, I think it just really sucks because there were so many chances. Maybe we should have been up in the lead. Like I said, the 1-on-ones, the penalty, the last minute freaking header. Like, you know what I mean? There were so many chances at least that I seen that like we have to be very crucial because if not, and something jammy gets in, like it's just it's very hard to get back, and that's the dilemma. Um,
Mm.
Now, what would you say for Amorin though when he made his subs? Like, what would you say like as you know a manager yourself in training? Do you think his subs were the best choices? And what do you think about the subs?
I mean, there's not much to say about the subs. I mean, obviously Sesko, he's trying to work him back into fitness, and not much to say about Sesko, right? He's just not really being found. They're not really. It's funny. The first half, they were putting some crosses in. The moment Sesko comes in, they stop. I don't know what that's about, to be honest. That's kind of odd to me. But they really haven't fought like put him in the game. But he's had glimpses. You'll see him, in build up, take a nice touch to get away from a center back, and keep the ball in possession. Those aspects are really nice, right? It's refreshing to see somebody with ability to hold the ball and have some sort of flair instead of you know losing it every time like Rasmus. And again, I don't want to dog on him, but let's be honest, he was terrible at holding the ball up. So those little moments have been nice. Him driving the ball a little bit better than Rasmus would is also nice. Linking up. But yeah, we've yet to see him really do anything in the box. And again, we just need to put crosses in when he's in, right? He's in there, just dink it up. The homie has an NBA level vertical. Like, just see what happens. If it don't work, it don't work. But like, try it, please. Like I gotta see something. I don't even know what Sesko can offer in the box because nobody's trying to play to his strengths, right? So, anyways, Dalot was okay, but again, he's one of those players where he's just at times gonna kind of just lose the ball and be untidy coming out the back, and he does it in the worst moments where you're just like sustaining pressure, right? So, on the goal, obviously, was one of those moments where we got scored on, right? He tries to do a nice little fancy, like, Cruyff turn and loses the ball, and then they immediately cross it in and score on us. So, that rating, what is it? In the fives, that's kind of, or sixes maybe? That's kind of whatever, 6.0. Um, Ugarte, same thing. He's got energy. He'll get stuck in every now and then, but beyond that, he really offer anything. And Aiden, he really didn't do too much, right? I think they were probably just trying to not overextend some of those center backs. And then Harry Maguire, you know, as usual, we put him in last minute when we're chasing a goal, and he does great winning the ball, winning headers, right? He should have scored a goal, to be honest. So I mean, I wouldn't really dog on him too much, but pretty straightforward subs, to be honest. The only controversial thing is people are crying out for Kobe Maino to get subbed in, right? Because he's had no minutes, which is a bit odd to me, just because I would think if you're gonna use him and you're gonna not force him, but convince him to stay and sign a contract. Okay, well, what are you gonna do with him? Use him. You know what I'm saying? And if not, bro, you gotta sell him. You gotta let him go thrive somewhere. So that's the only question mark I would give Amarin is like, why not Mainu, right? Especially when you're chasing the game. But that's really all I have to say.
Yeah, and I mean the subs. I think this is where I was telling you, right? I feel like they were all very defensive, other than Sesko, right? You know,
And
you.
Maguire,
Well, Maguire was just long balls, and it was 87 minutes. He wasn't gonna do anything. Like, I mean, other than the one
he
header that we,
did.
the only one that
He had like three
he
headers.
had one. He had one good one. Okay.
He had
But
three
I'm
headers.
proud of you then for remembering those. I only got a highlight. Okay. Stop hating. Um, yeah, they were all very defensive, other than I guess Harry Maguire too. Yeah, Mainu. I think it's. I don't know if it's just more of he's not sure how to use them or when to use them or time frame to use them because like I said you were saying earlier about the midfield, right? Leg wise, like if you're gonna play him, I think he's gonna play a lot more up. And I mean, are we really gonna cost that on a 1-1? You know what I mean? Like, and potentially gets scored on. I think that's his dilemma. Um, because there's not really other any means to use him. I would love to see
I
him. Don't get
agree.
me. I would love to see him play because I feel like he could provide at least that extra attack that we might want. I just think like if you're trailing or if you're losing, like if you put him in, you're really risking you know the midfield again, which we're already risking at this point. Um, so I think
I
that's
agree,
the
but then why not just sell him?
but that's what I'm saying. But like, if we're winning, or like, say we're winning 1-0, I feel like he would play him. You know what I mean? Like he would sub him on. That's why I said he would probably be useful, like if we're trying to keep the lead or anything like
I
that.
see what you're saying.
But
Well, we were. We
um,
were winning.
yeah, but I think it
We
was.
were winning 1-0.
Yeah, but then it was too late though. I think they literally, I think, scored because I think they scored in the 60th. Like,
Like 14 minutes later. Yeah,
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 like
yeah.
in the 60th. So it was like in that transition where we would have made any subs. Because like clearly when we subbed on Dalot and Sesko, that's kind of where it all went. Well, Dalot mostly, where it went to shit. And unfortunately, Dalot cost of the game in a way, which is what I told you. Dalot's more like a body, and he's only gonna be a body. And I told you that he probably wasn't gonna provide anything on that side. So that's just at least from the highlights. Unfortunately, like I said, it was a 1-1. I wish we would have kept the momentum up like at the beginning of the game. It is what it is.
Hmm.
It happens. You know what I mean. It's still early days. Good thing about this though is there's still a couple days left in the window, so I'm hoping we will buy somebody. I know they're
We're
going for the,
broke.
yeah, I know we're going for a goalie, and we're still struggling to sell our players, but they gotta go, man. They gotta go. What, like, for crying out loud? Um,
Yeah, I'm not. It's not looking optimistic, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah, it really. I mean, but we'll see how it goes. So Ivan, since you're the tactic slash expertise, what's your five hot takes from this game? Or at least hot takes, because you might have more than five, but we'll just.
Yeah, so five sort of things we learned from this game. I'll probably start with the first being you know, Cunha is really gonna be that guy for us, right? It's just a matter of time, but he's definitely gonna score goals this season, 100%, right? Double digits, almost guaranteed, the way he's been playing. Um, Second, like you said, one to watch Mount, right? He's really going to be useful for us. When our strikers are injured, playing as a false nine, he'll be useful. And even when our tens are injured, right? I think he's going to do bits. He's been looking great, pressing, linking up play, creating chances. Um, yeah, I think he'll be good. Third thing we learned, our midfield is not it, right? I know we suspected that, right? And a lot of people were complaining you know, before the transfer window even began, but it's not it. And we got to figure it out. Don't know how, because the players we have, there really isn't a balance you can figure out. Amorin's already tried it in preseason with a bunch of different combinations, and none of them complement each other perfectly. So that's something still to be figured out, and hopefully we can figure it out in the transfer window. Um, I guess the fourth thing is Euro's that guy. Right? Maybe that's something we learned last game too, but Euro is definitely that guy, right? He's definitely going to cook for us this season, and hopefully, a couple more seasons, before he goes off to Madrid. Um, uh, and then the fifth thing, let me see. What can I say about the fifth thing? I guess I don't want to be negative, but I guess the fifth thing we learned is that Amarin probably doesn't have much time. The way the narrative is shaped around him, if it's like old regimes where like they kind of listen to the media, right? When the heat's on a manager and the whole world is saying he needs to be sacked, right? If this new leadership is like that and they listen to that, yeah, Amarin, we gotta start moving with results, right? We gotta start putting Harry Maguire, subbing him in earlier, and start trying to figure out a way to score goals because the media, bro, oh my gosh, they are gonna do their thing to drag down our players and managers. So, you know, we have to pick it up. Have to. So hopefully, hopefully it starts with me in Manchester. Hopefully I'm good luck, man. I really hope so.
And like I said, boys and viewers, Ivan will be there personally. Hopefully, at least from my intake, I hope that Sesko finally gets the start that he deserves. Maybe starts to make an
Yes.
impact. That would be definitely my intake. I feel like the striker is really needed. Let's drop Cunha back. Let's put Mount off the bench. I feel like that will be where we
Yep.
make the best use right now. Midfield, we're just
Hmm.
gonna have to work with what we got. Bruno, you're gonna have to step up your game, please. Okay, don't let me down, because it's very sad to see you not perform. Um, and then I think my third thing, if I had to say anything, uh, Amarin, please make better subs, okay? I know we're very limited what we got, but please at least do something more. Like these 87-minute subs, they aren't gonna do nothing for us. We need them at least. Just gonna have to go balls in. You know what I mean? Gotta go in and to win. All right.
Excuse me.
Pardon my French, if I say, But at least that's it for the review of the game. Like I said, it was a 1-1. I would have really loved to have seen the 3 points because we really do need it. Um, not gonna be like, damn, dude, we're at the bottom because there's only 2 games. Like, come on, like, stop, chill out, everyone, chill out for like a second here.
Yes, please,
Um,
please.
uh,
PSA to all Man United fans.
yeah.
Let's just chill. I understand. Give it a couple more games. Give it 5 games. After that, you press the red button.
Then you can start to worry. Like I said,
Yes.
hopefully we'll get some transfers in. I don't know if we'll get any like the midfielder we want, but at least maybe see what we can do. Hopefully we get the players out. Maybe even save the money, and see what we can do with that. Other than that, like I said, if you're liking the content, please comment, subscribe. Also, if you got any feedback for us, put that down. We'll listen. If it's dissing us, diss only Ivan, not me, please. Okay, show me mercy. Ivan is the expert, so he knows what he's talking about. So always look out for him.
Nah, nah,
But
nah, nah,
if you
nah.
guys are gonna be at Old Trafford, Ivan is doing a meet and greet. So go up and say hi to him. He loves that stuff, guys. I know he's gonna say he hates it, but he loves that. Give him the
No,
heat that
no,
he
no, no,
loves.
no, no.
Um,
Please, please leave me alone, please. I'm
yeah,
introverted. I can't handle it. I'll have a mental breakdown in public.
Um, I did have a question for the viewers though. We are thinking of doing like match previews. If you guys would like to see that, let us know. That is kind of something we want to implement in the channel to kind of give you guys more content. We also are thinking of maybe doing a second channel, or just maybe tying it up to this one, because we also are a big anime video game lover. As you can see, I have all the anime stuff in the back. But other than
He's got it
that,
all.
yeah,
All of it. All the figurines,
yeah,
everything you could think of.
that's about it. Like if you can't tell, I represent the One Piece fans for life. But
Oh shit.
yeah,
I almost
but
forgot about that too. I ain't gonna lie, that's crazy.
yeah. Well, I have the other one too, and it's not even done yet. I gotta get that one colored in.
Jeez.
Yeah, but I appreciate all you guys watching. Keep supporting us. Like I said, we're just 2 guys trying to enjoy the love of the game. It's been your boy David,
And your boy Ivan.
and this is Gus signing off.
See you next time.
Do